most dominant driver of the night will stand tall in South Florida. Checkered flag, Kyle Clenworth comes away with his first career VOR Indycar Series win. Welcome everybody to the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series. This is the second race of this season, and we have a heater for you. It is the New Hampshire 225 presented by Loverns Incorporated. I'm so excited. How about you, Daniel?
Well, it's certainly going to be a good race this time. Hopefully it's better than Homestead was with the giant calamity that was happening there.
Will stand tall and
with the giant calamity that was the early race issues. Hopefully this time it goes better. It's a flat track, a lot less, well, there's a lot less space, and but there's really two grooves here. So top and bottom, well, top in the middle, the bottom is death. So you never know what's going to happen at a track like here for 225 miles tonight.
Yeah, and talking about Homestead, that race was pretty heavily dominated by Kyle Clenworth, who is our current driver standings leader. Which we might be able to get on the screen right there. There it is. He got 50 points for the win. And of course, those 3 bonus points for leading some laps. And in second place, you have Rodin right behind him. Fyodor Marcos. I'm very sorry if I mispronounce these names. I am a dumb American. Americans aren't very smart. We have Matt Brewer, Kostek Solowaj. In 7th, we have Bryce Solowaj. 7th, we have Bryce Saucier. And 8th, Jaco Seegers.
Jaco Seekers, but in the team standings, Rogue Racing currently leads from Condoneer Speedworks by only 2 points. Velocity Racing in 3rd, of Nicholas Pressey E Motorsports following in 4th, a long way back. Hyperion Racing in 5th, Fury Sim Sport in 6th, tied to Feltena Autosport with Team Watson Racing in 8th. So, interesting start to the season teams-wise, but it's only one race in, there's a long way to go.
Yeah, everything is really close, and what caught my eye when I was looking at the standings is Kyle Clenworth was the only one that I believe competed in that Homestead race for his team. But since he won it, it doesn't really matter that he was the only one. He still scored enough points for Rogue Racing for them to be in that first spot for the constructor standings.
Yeah, well, team standings, but still very good. Still very good run for him. Right now, Kostek Solowaj leads the qualifying for Rodin Eftink, who's P2. Had a good run in the GIC race on Wednesday until he slapped the wall with about 20 to go. Hoping to continue that good run. He is a rookie to the series, but he did a really good run over the last race. He finished P2 in his first ever start. Strauss in 3rd, he won the GIC finale, but did not win the championship. That's Julian Altena, league owner, who's in P9 right now.
Yeah, and as you can see, the track map on the screen. This is in New Hampshire, of course, 225 laps. Each lap is going to be a mile for a total of 225 miles today. Hence the name, the New Hampshire 225. But yeah, and then you can look all the way down in 9th. There's our championship leader, Kyle Clenworth, 2/10 behind the lap from Solowaj, so I assume that's a very quick lap for him. And I'm also curious, I don't know too much about the regulations of this league, but I know when I was doing IndyCar Series, some of my competitors would do a cheese where you gas the car for like the first 3 minutes of qualifying, so you have less fuel for your run. So I don't know if any drivers here today are utilizing that, but it is something to watch out for.
It's a fixed setup, so I don't think that's possible, but as the qualifying ends and we get ready to start this race today.
Yeah, we got 3 seconds left, so it does look like Solowaj will be taking the pole, which I also believe is going to be a bonus point for him. See if we can get those standing. There we go. So Kostek Solowaj will be leading points today, number 95, and alongside him will be Rodin Eftink. And in row 2, we have the series owner, Julian Altena, lined up next to Matthias Strauss. And then just behind them in row 3, we have Amand Lal and Gary Lovern, who I assume is the sponsor for today's race. And then in row 4, we have Christian Malchrek and Katie Pollack. And then in row 5, capping off this top 10, we have Bryce Saucier and your points leader, Kyle Klenberg.
Row 6, immediately following behind, will be Andres Vinci and Matt Brewer, the 85 and 14 respectively. Row 7 will be Shabox Moradyi and Fyodor Doroshenko. Moradyi has had a not a great time, but row 8, Sebastian Kinder and Marcos Teixeira. Row 9 will be Vitor Guilherme, who has a very, very big name in the year, and Hugo Galage, also for the Altena Autosport cars. Row 10 will be Dan Ench and Mike Jensen, rounding out your top 20.
All right, here we go. For row 11, we have the 96 of Yaroslav Donskoy and the 2 of Jesper Orman. Row 12, the 3 of Mason Mitchum and the 32 of Shane Kocher. And then just behind them, the final driver of the field, number 78, Sebastian Dufresne. So as, oops, sorry. Yeah, so as our, oh my God. So as our drivers are now approaching, they're doing their first warm-up lap, and they're going to be approaching the green flag to start these 225 laps here at New Hampshire. They're rounding turn 3. There he is right there, our pole sitter, Kostek Solo-Wise, leading the point. Here we come around turn 4. The pace car enters the pit road, and here we go to start the New Hampshire 225 presented by Lovern Incorporated. The green flag drops as we go racing, and you see everybody instantly falls out of line. We're 3 wide, 3 rows deep. It looks like we're even 4, maybe 5 wide further in the field. It looks like a move for the lead might have also happened as well, but no, Solo-Wise is able to keep that lead, but around the outside, that's, I forget his name, but he's trying around the outside now. We talked about it. That inside isn't too preferred, but Solo-Wise using it effectively here to start this race.
Very good start, clean start for everyone as Roden Eveting will dive to the inside, trying to get there, but the outside, getting really close to the inside is going to cause you to lose a lot of speed off the corner. You're going to want to maintain that momentum over the top, and well, Kostek Solo-Wise will be able to just do that perfectly, but he's going to try and block Eveting heading into turn 3 here.
Yes, that's maybe what Eveting said. That's maybe what Eveting saw. Solo-Wise took that lower line, and since he took that lower line, he had less speed coming off the corner, and Eveting said, this might be my opportunity to go for an overtake here.
He's really looking on the inside there. Kind of surprising to do that as the field begins to spread out. Issues for the 85, I think. Might have, yep. So already issues for Andres Vinci. He's down to the pit. We're spinning.
Matt Brewer in the wall. Yeah, that'll be race over for him, as this league does not have fast repairs. So he'll have to tow it back to the pit lane, and it's going to be shutting off the sim early today.
That was, take a look at the replay here. Just going to get a little bit of dirty air on the from the outside for one of the VRL cars. And it just phases through them. Classic iRacing netcode there.
Yeah, it's a really awkward looking incident. Of course, when you have drivers competing from all over the world. Yeah. So it may have been some blinking issues. You know, you have drivers competing from all across the globe, and the ping and the internet speeds are all going to be different. So just little weird moments like that, and unfortunately, it will be the end of the 85's night.
Yeah, but very early in this race, so fuel stints are about 48 to 53 laps, so I don't think anyone's going to make a gamble to top up very early on, because, well, you could save fuel under caution and go a bit longer. In these cars, you can't really clutch, as far as I know, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the rest of this race. Celebration looked to have a good run, but we haven't had a real run so far because we only lasted 4 laps. But you never know what's going to happen in a race like this.
Yeah, really the fuel saving you do in this car for these caution laps, you chuck it into map 8, go into 6th gear, hold in the clutch can have a little bit of... It can help a little bit. You're right, it's not the main thing that's going to help them fuel saving, but with those 3 factors, the map 8, the 6th gear, and holding the clutch, you can save a lot of fuel under these caution laps to extend that stint just a little bit more.
I think that was Glenworth that was the car involved. Apparently they're... is Glenworth still circulating? I can't really tell. Nope. Glenworth is out. I think it might be internet issues for Glenworth. He's out.
Yeah, that's tragic news for... I feel like I've said it so many times this stream. That's tragic news for the point leader. He just internet DC'd. Wow. That's really unfortunate. A huge hit for Rogue Racing. As you know, he's the only driver for them, so that's going to be a pretty big hit to that as well.
Yep, lights out in the pace car. We're going green this time by. So do we, and it positions.
All right, and here we go. Once again, I feel like it's deja vu all over again. As that pace car approaches turn 3, we're getting ready to go green once again. And of course, following standard, not only IndyCar, but iRacing procedure, any restarts will be done in single file and not the double file that you saw in that first initial start. But here we go, leading the field once again. Behind them will be Altena. So maybe Altena and Eftink want to see what they can pull off. Maybe they can get a bit sneaky on the restart. And Solo Wise will probably do his best to catch him off guard. But let's see when he goes. Chooses to go now as all the cars instantly hop out of line once again. We're 3 wide, 4 back, and Eftink looking on the inside of Solo Wise. Hard to make it stick through there, but I like the aggression. Altena might just be able to use that to get around the outside and take away P2 from Eftink. Here we go, side by side into 3. Eftink goes all the way to the bottom once again, but he's going to lose all of the speed coming off the corner, and Altena will take 2nd place.
I don't think it's over quite yet. Altena, nope, he clears him off the corner. Bit of a collision in the wall for Gary Lovern back there. And white car slow on the inside.
Another yellow, and he's in the wall. The sponsor of today's race, Gary Lovern, has a broken right front wing. Looks like he's able to get it started again. Gonna roll it back to the pit lane, have his iRacing pit crew chuck a new wing onto that and see if we can get back to racing.
Just lost it heading into turn 1 and everyone just avoided him.
That looked like a pirouette the way he was able to spin and not hit any other cars. That was beautifully dodged by the other drivers. And let's see. Oh, so maybe he gets into the wall, gets a bit of rear wing damage, doesn't expect the loss of downforce in the next corner and just loses it.
Yeah, so easy to do in these cars at pretty much any track. It's he's got a meatball, so he has to come down for repairs as we go back under caution for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, these cars are so tricky, especially with your tools. You know, you want to set your tools aggressive, so you have a lot of pace. You know, you have a lot of front grip, but you have to be careful. You know, you give your car more front grip and you can just lose the rear mid corner and that could be a race over just like that. So what's really cool about these cars, especially around ovals, is finding that balance of aggression, but also the conservative side of, I want to make sure my car doesn't just instantly spin out as soon as I turn it in.
Yeah, that is definitely the thing, but I mean, here it's fixed setup, so there's not really much you can do about that. So we're just trying.
I think they can still change the roll bars in their weight checker. I would assume.
Well, yeah, you can't change the weight checker or the roll bar. My bad. I'm so used to other cars as a.
I'll get. Yeah, the NASCAR doesn't have many things like that. The NASCAR is just you got your brake bias and that's about it.
Yeah, and Andres Vinci will get his lap back, I believe, as he was given a wave by there. So field rolls in. I think we might have some coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, so Saucier, all the way to Vinci, so 16th through 22nd, all took some tires, refilled their fuel all the way. Essentially, they came down pit road, took the free pit stop from the caution, you know, offsetting their strategy a little bit. So we'll see by the end of the race which one of those strategies is going to win out in the end. But solo-wise, Altena, Ifnink, your 3 podium positions, they stayed on that A strategy.
Yeah, but as we get ready to go back green this time by, tire wear shouldn't be as much of an issue here as it was at Homestead, but you never really know in these cars. It could really be anything around any of these tracks. I mean, it's not the worst track on tires, and I mean, it is one of the shortest races of the season at only 225 miles, so.
Yeah, and a lot about those tires, it depends on how much you're pushing. You know, maybe you want to play the restarts really aggressive, make early places, but then that causes you to lose positions as if you have a really long stint and as the stint continues on. Or maybe opt for the other strategy. You know, you play the restart conservative, you save your tires, and if you do have that long stint, you might just be able to pull ahead towards the end of it. But here we go. For the 3rd time this race, Solo-wise leads the field to the green flag. It's green. Here we go once again. We're 4 wide, it looks like. Down the front straight, Solo-wise keeps the lead into turn 1. Altena actually struggles behind a little bit. Already a 2/10 gap between 1st and 2nd. Looking like a big move there from 6th and 5th place. He'll have to take the inside line. It's going to give him a bad run, and that might just be Guilherme able to take advantage of that. No, it's Ifnink, sorry. It's Ifnink defending for his life from P4 and P5.
Yeah, but Guilherme will get around Strauss there, heading into turn 1. The outside seems to be the place to be on these at the start right now, as people are saying, we're going around again.
Oh, as 2 cars go around, 1 gets collected as well. A lot of debris as you see that bright green car's wing is just sitting there on the track, and I don't think that is repairable damage, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and that's the 88.
Of Shepbox Managi. He's a big meatball there, big junk. You can see here, 3 wide, checks up, and Managi is just gonna, I think, yep.
Oh! Yeah, I couldn't tell. It happened so quick, but you know, Mirani's coming down. I couldn't. The yellow car was coming up, and just, you know, classic case of both cars one in the same space.
Yep, classic case of that. Plus, you have the iRacing netcode there. One other car went down the inside. I believe that was Polak. Or, well, coming out pit road this time, changing a strategy. Very early, chaotic start to this race so far.
Yeah, and most of our front runners, they do opt to stay on this A strategy. And now let's see, where were those drivers that pit last time? I believe Bryce Saucier was the one leading those. He's falling back as well. Did he come into pit again? Looks like a lot of drivers came into pit this time.
No, Saucier was the one who spun to the inside, and he has damage, so.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. So, unfortunate ending for him. He was the leader in that lead strategy, so maybe towards the end of the race, he had a shot of winning this race. But you do need your race car, unfortunately, to win, and he did get caught up in that incident.
It looked only like front wing damage. He's back out on track now, so.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Still not great, but it's very early into this race. You never know how many more cautions are going to happen. I mean, so far, we've only lost about 5 of the 25 that started, so it's not as bad as Homestead was, but
And Kyle Klenworth is also only a lap down. And he's back out on track now. So maybe his Wi-Fi cut out momentarily and he was able to come back. Or maybe he got early damage on a wall and decided to pit really early. That could 100% be the case. He was DC'd. Okay. So I'm getting word he was indeed DC'd. But he comes back on the track only a lap down. And albeit the second car on that lap. So he is definitely now he just passed Mirani. Now he's the first car on the lead lap, or sorry, first car a lap down. So he will be getting the lucky dog next time a caution is thrown. So championship leader not out of this race yet.
Very good. You never know if those mechanical issues or those internet issues, which are basically like the equivalent to a real life mechanical issue, like that. As lights are out the pace car, we're about to go back green.
Yes, turns hard left into the pit lane. When will he go? When will he choose to hit the gas pedal? There it goes as they pass the Echo Park advertisements. Once again, Solowaj holds that high line. Definitely the preferred line from these drivers today, although Altena getting really aggressive down on the inside. He's got to be careful because you get such a bad run. Evening might even look for an opportunity around the outside of him, but coming into 3, those front 5 or 6 stay single file, maybe playing it a little bit safer. One to hold back, just trying to survive now.
Yeah, I mean, survival is pretty much the entire part of a race like this. I mean, it is the shortest race of the ovals this season at only 225 miles. So there's not as much time as you have at some of the other races to make those moves, but you're gonna want to keep focusing on everything and just trying to get as much points as possible. Remember, it is only a 9-round championship, so there's not a lot of time to score those points, and you're gonna want to be consistent throughout those 9 races.
Yeah, you said it. Consistency is key. Consistency is so important. And Altena now looking for the inside of Solowaj. He gets side by side, but you're going to lose so much time on the exit. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep fighting for it. He's not. So at this point, you're probably just wasting your tires by trying to fight the.
Yeah, the dirty air is not as much, but on these shorter tracks than it is at a big track like Homestead or Indianapolis, but it's still a factor. And, well, Solowaj seems to be playing a defensive role right now. You're going to want to try and get to the outside, but I just don't think you're going to be able to at this time. I mean, Altena looks like he's the cork in the bottle right now, as both Altena and Evening seem to be a bit faster right now, but yellow.
And here we go, another yellow. I saw some tire marks. Maybe it looks like the 88 of Marani in his pit box still. And it's Gary Loverd once again. We saw him have front wing damage earlier. We saw him get out of the wall, get that car to pit lane, get it all fixed up. But let's see what happens here. Maybe just loses it by himself, taps the wall on the exit of a corner. Let's see now, approaching turns 3. Let's watch his rear end, see if he gets a little bit loose maybe. Oh no! No! You can't park there, Gary. Can't put your car there as he just pulls a pace car from, what was it, Phoenix? And the NASCAR race, if you guys remember that, straight into the barriers. I don't know if he lost focus, maybe he had some, oh, he did lose the rear end a little bit. Little bit of slide on the exit, couldn't fix the problem that he was experiencing earlier on in the race. Maybe had to make a little bit more adjustments in his tools, soften those rear ARBs, but just not able to find the changes, and unfortunately puts the car in the barrels.
Yep, just got a bit loose there, and well, when you're getting loose and there isn't that much time to well, react to that, and you're going into the wall. Field under caution once again, and Kyle Clemworth will get his lead lap back. So he's back on the lead lap, and Vitor Guerre started 18th, already up to 4th.
Wow, so yeah, huge storyline for the 21 car. That's very impressive spots gained, as you see, all the way up 14 spots, and that's not even pit strategy. That's just probably being aggressive on these restarts and playing it very well.
Yep, and I mean, he's a rookie to this league, but not a rookie to this car. He's won many races in the official iRacing IndyCar series, so certainly one to watch, and he is currently the second highest rookie behind Roden Evening, who's in front of him. But Evening had a really good run at Homestead, and looking for another good run here.
Yeah, Evening currently sitting second in those point standings. And with the day that Clemworth is having so far, this could be a very good day for Evening to maybe take lead of that championship, and an even bigger day for independent racing, because in the team standings, they are...
Well, independent drivers don't have a team, so they are...
Oh, that's... I thought it was a team name. Sorry, that's my fault. That's on me. I saw that. I'm like, oh, independent racing. That's a pretty cool team name. But no, that is just the fact that he does not have a team.
Yeah, anyways, field coming back to green once more.
Yeah, just as you said, field's going green. Once again, they're approaching turn 3, I believe. I've kind of lost count at this point. I think this is our third or fourth. I think third caution, fourth restart. Once again, it will be Solowaj at points. Altena right behind him as he had that really nice move around the outside of Evening on that second restart. And coming down the Echo Park sponsorships once again, Solowaj gets a great getaway, already pulls a 2.5 tenth gap from Altena. Looks like behind, that's Guilherme trying to find a move on Evetank. Evetank goes all the way to the apron. He's got to be careful. It's not where you want to be on the track, but now it's Kinder looking for a move on Strauss back in the field. But no, battle for the lead. Altena once again looks for the inside of Solowaj, but that run the outside line gets so overpowered, and he's not going to be able to make anything of that.
You're going to want to roll that momentum on the top side. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom because, well, if you hit the bottom, it's not going to go well as a middle back in the pack here. It's a Molkodek versus Donskoy behind him, and well, Donskoy is going to have to check up coming to the corner, and here comes Amon Lal, who finished P2 in the Global Indycar Challenge, had a win on that series, but struggled at Indianapolis, and so he's hoping for a better run. He's part of the Altena Autosport VOR team this season, so he's got the same setup as Altena, but he's having a good P10 run so far as Monangi comes back on track. You can see on board of Julian Altena, trying to get down the front stretch here. He's trying to keep, but he's starting to lose that gap now.
Yeah, and I like what Altena's doing. He's trying to find the alternative line that Solowaj is running. We mentioned a little bit earlier, dirty air absolutely sucks around any tracks. Of course, it's a little bit less than the short track, but it still really hinders your car's performance. So trying to find an alternate line from the car in front is very important just to give your front and rear a little more downforce.
Yep, coming in here, you can see Evetank's running that real low bottom now. I don't think that's the way to go. He seems to be... He's a bit slower than the guys in front of him. Altena currently, I believe, has the fastest lap. These three are, well, top four are running in the... a lot faster than everyone else. Altena now sets a new fastest lap this time around. So he's looking a bit faster than Solowaj in the lead, but he's just stuck behind him and just can't get by.
Yeah, my guess on why Evetank is running that lower line, it saves tires just a little bit more. You know, obviously, since you're not running the high line, you're not going quite as far. You're not turning the wheel as much. So going that low line, if you don't lose too much time, you do save tires. So it could work out in the long run for Evetank. So maybe he's playing smart. Maybe he's playing that long game. But he does have to be careful for the gap behind. Because if he takes that low line and Guilherme is able to get a run using the outside line, he could very easily lose that last podium position.
Yeah, but right now everyone seems to be stuck in a line. There's not really acted, but they're in that wall. As we saw in Indianapolis on a Wednesday night in the GIC race. When you're in that wall, you can't really make that many moves. And on a track with not as many grooves in these cars, it's going to be real hard to get by and make passes here.
Yeah, and two people I'm seeing on my timing screen move up. Kyle Klenworth and Jesper Orman have all gained a good amount of places on this most recent restart. Klenworth all the way up to 15th, Orman all the way up to 11th. So don't count these cars out yet. Maybe they're trying to push a little bit earlier. Maybe they know how to push well while saving. But Orman has now gotten to the very top of that second pack. And now, since he's got that clean air, he's going to close in that pack to the top 10 and see if he can start getting some moves onto Lal and maybe even Donskoy in the near future.
Yep, you can see the top three is just absolutely stuck together right now. They're starting to pull away from Guilherme a little bit. It seems like Guilherme is just struggling because he was so aggressive in that early start. But we are around 10 or so, well, probably a bit more than that, 20 or so laps from this first pit stop of the race. It's going to be about 3-4 stops tonight. Anyways, you can see the field just Altena trying to get to the inside, trying to get that run, but they're getting real close. You could almost can't fit a paper between those two cars right now.
Yeah, it looked like Solowaj tapped his right rear on that outside wall, so he's got to be careful with that. And yeah, you're right, Julian and Altena looking really racy, looking really aggressive. I mean, you can see how easily he's able to turn that car down to that inside lane. So maybe he knows he has more pace than Solowaj and just has to outthink him, has to outsmart him. In this phase of the game, we're essentially playing chess. You know, where is your opponent going? How can I counter where he goes? And it looks like Amon Lal just passes Donskoy. Or Donskoy and Amon Lal having a huge fight, I believe, for 9th and 10th as they're tossing back and forth places. And so are Klenworth and Saucier back in 14th and 15th. But yeah, here we go, side by side, down the front straight, approaching turn 1. It's going to be Donskoy on the outside, I believe. And Lal down the inside. Lal with a fantastic move. We talked how bad the inside line is. Amon Law doesn't care. He's going to take it and get the move done on Donskoy, but now Donskoy trying to go right back underneath him, but Law's going to close off the door, and it looks like he has that one secured.
Yeah, great move on the inside. Slide jobs are something you don't really see in IndyCar that much, but I guess that was a textbook slide job, so yeah, you never know. But with two cars with those different amounts of pace, I mean, Law has been the faster car than Donskoy over the last last bit of the race, so it seems like the pace is starting to slow down a little bit, but not as much. Like, they're only about 0.1 of a second off their best times, at least for the top two. Altena is a little bit faster, but it's not that much faster, so he just is really struggling, and he's going to get to the outside here, but I think Solveig is just going to try and cover both lines now.
Yeah, now one thing, approaching lap 42, what we have to consider is green flag pit stops. The fuel stint windows are roughly 48 to 53 laps. The cautions will, of course, extend that. I don't see drivers going any farther than around lap 56, at most lap 60. So very soon we might start to see some green flag pit stops take place. And Clenworth just happened. He moved up 2 spaces in that last lap, getting past Saucier, getting past Galaz, all the way up to lucky number 13th place now. And it looks like he's going to attack the rookie, Katie Pollock. See if he can move to the 12th. And wow, huge move from Mounteret, climbing the elevator, or I should say de-escalating the elevator as he goes down the inside. Rookie driver, great aggression from him. Not able to get the move done on Kinder, unfortunately. But he's going to keep up the attack. But that's Dovzhenko. He's giving him a little bit of dirty air. He's taking the inside line as well. And even though he's 2 cars in front, you're still going to get a little bit earlier. And that's still something you have to consider while fighting these battles.
Yeah, but Amon Law right behind him, he's a bit faster. But here we have Kyle Clenworth. He's absolutely rocketing up the field right now. To get to the inside of Katie Pollock now. And try and make that move. He started 9th, but he fell back due to internet issues. But he's already on the move once again. And he's going to get around Pollock now. And they're not exactly. They're still side by side. This looks like might probably be a battle through a couple laps.
Yeah, Clenworth sticking to that inside line. Pollock sticking to that very, very top side. Clenworth has been making this inside work pretty well this race, and there you go. He makes it work once again. As he's now moved up to 12th. We saw him all the way back in 20th, just at that last restart. So, great things from the championship leader here.
It's very good. He was dominant in that first race, but he's having to fight through the field here, so to be interesting to see if he's able to make up more positions on pit stops as the field starts to spread out in front of him, as Jesper Orman is a good couple seconds behind Donskoy for the top 10. Battle for the lead once again.
Yeah, here we go. Altena now within a 1/10 of a second to Solowaj. Just not able to find what he needs to get around him. Although Altena might have the inside line, gets a good run, might look to go underneath here. Can he be later on the brakes? Not a lot of braking required here, but still a little bit. He does get a good amount of car width in front of Solowaj here, down to turn 1. That outside line just gives too much of a run to Solowaj, but now Eftink might start thinking about some moves in Altena here soon.
Yeah, but it seems like that with the dirty air here, the fact that these cars are all very similar amounts of pace over these last couple laps. I mean, Eftink just set the fastest lap. It's the first one in the 21.4s. So he seems to be pushing now, as he's probably hit the fuel number he wants to for that first stint. So he's just going to go absolutely hell of leather here and try and get by. He's the only one really running that super low bottom line right now.
Yeah, so maybe what I was saying earlier has now started to come true. We stopped getting those cautions in this. We got a really nice green flag stint here, and that was what Eftink wanted. You know, we saw him taking that low line, saving tires was my guess, and now you see he set the fastest lap, looking to be really racy. And since he knows he's probably going to pit in 7 to 8 laps for fuel, might as well make do of your good tires while you can.
Anyway, Amon Law has joined this battle for P8 now. He's going to go into the inside of Christian Malkarek, and we'll be able to slide up and just get him there. So he's starting to rocket through the field. Battle for the lead once again. Altena ahead through the corner, and it's going to be close. He has the gap, but he isn't able to clear. So we're going to head into turn 3 here. And will he get a bit more? New leader, Julian Altena.
Yeah, pulls off that slide job on to Solowaj, takes the lead over Solowaj, looking for the inside again. And if I'm Evetank, I'm thinking this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. This is my moment now to see what I can make of this. Can I find the gap? You know, if they're battling each other, can I make it 3 wide? He just might, as he goes all the way to the inside. Solowaj blocks him off, but now he looks to be getting alongside Altena. Solowaj takes back the lead. Altena's not having any of it. Looks for the inside, going into 1. Solowaj once again defending that outside line, and Altena pulls off the move once again, but it looks like Solowaj now has the inside line. Can he take the place back? We talked about how this outside line is looking really good, but these drivers, this inside line now is looking to be the favored line. So maybe too much rubber has gotten on that top line, and the inside is now where you want to be. As Evetank now looks to the inside of Solowaj for second place. Your leader, who led so many laps up this first stint, might just fall to third if Evetank can pull this move off. The timing says he was in second. Here he is once again. Can he get a full car length ahead? It's going to be close. It's going to be tight on exit. Not quite yet. And Altena is loving that battle behind because that can extend his lead right before they have to pit for this first stop.
Yeah, but Altena just seemed to have a lot faster car over that entire stint, but going to the inside, he isn't really able to save as much tires as, again, you're on the wheel a lot harder through those corners to turn those wheels down the inside. So the outside might be better, but really, I haven't driven this car that much, so I wouldn't know much, but you never know on a track like this. Like, on a track like this, there's really 2-3 grooves you can run, but that bottom groove, that super low line, that's a bit of a risk, because this battle for 9th continues, as Mulcrack will get around the outside of Amon Law, but Amon Law continues down the inside.
Yeah, this 31 and this 13, the inverse of the numbers, having a huge scrap here for 8th and 9th, and just in front of them, Kinder and Dovzhenko having a little bit of battle on their own. This group of 4 here is giving a lot of dirty air to each other as they're all approaching Strauss. It's your battle for 5th in total. And just behind them, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is Jesper Orman. We saw that gap like 4 seconds, 10 to 15 laps ago. He's brought that gap all the way down to looks like just under 3. So slowly but surely, Donskoy is roping in that top 10.
Yep, as the field begins in... Oh!
Whoa! Yeah,
evasive maneuvers.
Wow.
He's going to get another position there, and I think he's going to hold it because I think that's Kinder. Couldn't cross him over.
Yeah, I think Kinder's that red, white, and blue car, if I'm not mistaken. Falls down to 9th here, fighting for 8th still, though. As once again, that 13th of Law, I feel like he was just in 9th, made his way all the way up to 6th. Dovzhenko looking for that position back, trying to find something on the inside, not going to find it. But now Law passing all of those cars. I think he may get a top 5 here.
If it's we come to lap 61, field hasn't pit. No one's made a jump to pit road yet, which is kind of surprising, but it'll happen sooner or later. Probably around lap 65 is when I'm thinking they're probably going to start coming down pit road.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that they were able to stay out this long. You know, of course, our briefing said 48 through 53 laps. They've either been saving fuel throughout the stints, or they saved a lot more fuel than I thought during those cautions. But yeah, you're right. They're definitely going to have to start making some pit stops soon.
Well, we did have like 20 laps under caution.
That's very true. That's very true. Sometimes I just forget how long caution stints can be. As we have Law now, we just talked about it, looking for position 5 as he goes to the inside of Strauss. Can he clear him by the time we get to the end of the corner? It looks like he can. Strauss, though, maybe looking for the over-under, just doesn't get the run he needs. And now we're seeing these drivers that maybe saved tires towards the beginning of the stint, like Amon Law, really starting to use those tires to good effect here as he's gained 4 to 5 positions in just these last couple laps.
Fyodor Dovzhenko making the dive down to the bottom. He's probably headed to pit road now. His leaders are starting to get into lap traffic.
Well, that's going to be scary, especially because in this series, laps cars can fight for their position as long as they're not 3 or more laps down. So by no means are they forced to just go to the bottom and give that high line to the leaders. As I believe, is that Dovzhenko going into the pits? That's Fyodor Dovzhenko making this first pit stop with, who's that? Donskoy as well. So maybe some of those cars in that backpack didn't do as well on the fuel side. Oh, it's a huge crash! Is that the 88, I believe? It's the 86 of Marco Cicera. That right front is not functioning anymore. Let me tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. And Polak as well. And everybody is still spinning. The chaos is continuing. We saw Katie Polak fighting Clenworth for that 10th, 12th position just not too long ago. But the race now is going to get a lot more shakier, especially if you're one of those people that just pinned, like Dovchenko, like Donskoy. Your race is now completely in shambles.
Anyways, as we see, you're going to look at the replay here. Polak just going to hit the wall. Nowhere for Cicera to go. Shockingly, no caution when these two cars immediately crashed. But coming into certain... It's... bang.
Oh. Looks like a bit of an Arca brake moment there as, once again, Marco Cicera gets clipped on that left side of his. But yeah, I assume...
don't know who that was.
Yeah, I assume all of the drivers who have not pit yet, like Altena, like Solowoj, they're going to make their way down to pit road, and everyone that did pit just before that came out, unfortunately, they're going to be trapped a lap down, which is not what you want to see for those drivers, but, you know, unfortunate circumstances always occur. That looks like a pretty bad netcode.
And that was right in front of Julian Altena as well, so...
Wow, right in front of the leaders. So maybe a little bit of lap car confusion.
Was that Dufresne that ran into Cicera? I think that would have been a green car. Could be.
Here we go. Might have been Shane Kosher, the 32 here. Go look at his onboard really quickly to just give you guys a double check. As approaching, he sees some smoke. Doesn't look too bothered about it, and yet it was. Okay, loses the right front momentarily, but the game said, you know what, you're fine. Your car's still all in order. So maybe it's a client error on our client. Of course, it looks like he made contact. On his client, he probably didn't make contact. He did just avoid the accident at the last second. So his race is still going to be okay for now.
Yeah, but he really had nowhere to go if he did make contact. That was... I'm surprised the caution didn't throw the moment the crash happened, as the cars in front of leaders are all going to get their lap back, including the cars that just pitted, like Donskoy and all them.
Okay, yeah, so a lot of... Yeah, sorry, a lot of people have stopped during... when we were going over those replays. Altena and Solowaj and Evetank keep those podium positions, so Altena is able to keep the lead. No shuffling around there during the pit stops. As you see, Lowell still holding that P5. Right in front of him is Goharme. And as you can see, Clenworth all the way up to 9th now. So great stuff from him. I'm excited to see what happens when he starts approaching, you know, Lowell, Goharme, Evetank, and see what those battles look like, because that's going to get really scrappy. So those would be heavy championship implications. But here we go, Altena, for the first time, taking the green flag. Here we go, getting very dicey behind. It looks like Clenworth going all the way to the bottom. Going to set it 3 wide into turn 1, maybe. Solowaj looking for the outside of Altena. Not able to find something on that occasion as Goharme gets all the way up to the wall. Clenworth all the way down on the apron. Evasive action taken from multiple drivers here. Clenworth maybe not... Oh, so it's not Clenworth. I believe that's Maucharek in that bright green car. Maucharek not having the best restart here. He's just having to take multiple evasive maneuvers, and he's getting hounded down by Clenworth right behind him. Has to be a stressful position for him to be in. But Solowaj didn't quite see when that happened. Solowaj takes the lead from Altena and gets half a second of a gap.
Very good start for Solowaj. It seems he has the short run car, and Altena has a long run car, but... You never know if these cars, each driver has a very different driving style, and Solowaj just seems to be able to get those gaps on those restarts and was able to just absolutely nail that restart, and Altena just could not defend the line, and well, that's what happens on a track like this. Those restarts are so important if you want that lead, and we're spinning behind! They saved it!
We save it! Nice! Yeah, so Solowaj, who led so many laps this race, was able to get the jump on Altena, get that lead back. But that just made things more interesting because we saw that Altena looked to have more pace, looked to be racier during that first stint. So maybe we're going to see another really good battle between Altena and Solowaj once again. As here we are, Strauss and Maucharek Mouserek looking for that 6th position, not going to be able to find anything on that occasion. As there we go, quick rundown through that top 7, top 8 drivers. As it looks like they've kind of all mutually decided to settle in, maybe save some fuel, save some tires. Once again, only 75 out of 225 laps done, so no reason to do anything too stupid just yet.
Yep, that track position really matters at this track, so really, you're going to want to try and make those positions when you can, just because of how hard it is to pass here. So really, the track position is going to matter a lot.
As I believe that's Mouserek looking for the inside of Strauss. That inside line looks to really come alive here late in the race, and Strauss hits the wall, goes all the way down, destroys the Echo Park barrier, and his race will be over. Unfortunately for the 28 car, that will be his race completed.
I think he got a bit loose during the pass there, just shot to the outside wall, and as soon as you hit that, you're just going to go sailing to the inside wall. So Malcorrect coming into turn 3 here, he's going to make a dive to the inside. He's not going to be fully clear. He's going to get a bit loose there. He's going to slide up. They're going to make a little bit of contact. Ooh. Boom. And
yeah, slight contact there made. I couldn't tell if it was netcode or if his right rear tire just clipped the side pod of Strauss. That's unfortunate. I don't know what the stewards are going to have to say about that one.
Yeah, but I mean, tough break for Matthias Strauss, who won the Global IndyCar Challenge Indy 500K on Wednesday. Tough break for him. He was hoping for a good run, but sometimes things happen here.
Yeah, it's IndyCar, it's oval. There's always going to be unlucky circumstances. I'm pretty sure in the leagues that all of us have raced, we've ran into those where, just not your day and somebody clips you and your race is over. Not much you can do about it, but, that's racing sometimes. And we do have some takers for the pit lane. That's Jesper Orman, Shane Kosher, Dan Ench. Those are the 3 of the cars I can see. There's a couple more, but I can't quite tell who they are.
Bryce Saucier, I believe.
Okay, Bryce Saucier as well. So I wonder if those are cars that didn't pit at the last time. I believe there were still a couple cars that hadn't pit on that last caution. They saved fuel really well, and now they're filling up for fuel their first time. Or maybe just cars that, if you're all the way in back, if you're 18th, 19th position, free pit stop is a free pit stop, essentially. If you're 19th, pull into the pits, come out fresh set of tires, fill your fuel tank all the way to the max, you come back out on 19th. The only thing you gain is a little bit more fuel, and you don't really lose anything.
Yeah, it's the pit stop strategy is a very good part of IndyCar racing. I mean, on the ovals, you don't have the mandatory tire change that we do on the road courses, which we'll only see at Road Atlanta this season, since the Indianapolis road course are going to be 2 20-lap sprints. So we'll only see the mandatory tire change at Road Atlanta later this season, but back down, we're only 1 lap to go before we go back green again.
Yeah, as you see, the lights on that pace car have turned off, which, especially when you're at the race, from the few Indy 500s I've been to, when that feeling of when the lights turn off, your heart starts racing, your blood starts pumping all through your veins, and that's just the excitement. Those V6s, I believe, in Indy cars, they're ready to get roaring again, and as the cars approach turn 4, it's going to be Solo Wise once again leading them out. As here we go, the pace car looks to turn hard left as they're approaching turn 4. What can Altena do on this restart? Is he going to try to take that lead back? Can Eftink maybe find some momentum, take that outside line, catch an off-guard Altena, catch an off-guard Solowaj? Maybe, maybe not, but Solowaj leads him to green. There they all go. Great, right to the outside goes Kinder, I believe. 4 wide there, Cledworth on the top of that. He's got to be careful. He is going to back out of that, but Maltrek, looking very aggressive, pulls up all the way to send the Cledworth around. And the car goes sailing through the barriers. I can't quite tell who that is. Is that...
That's still Sheng.
It's Sheng. Oh, no. And Cledworth as well. Looks like his race is going to be over. Just instantly towed that car back to pits, as it's a tragic end of the night for 2 of our racers.
Yep. that can happen sometimes. You see one car go very down. Cledworth just going to get them on ball, and they're just gonna get a bit tapped, and boom, and Dovchenko goes flying.
Yeah, just Dovchenko taps Clenworth a little bit on that left rear, causes Clenworth to turn back into him, and that just propels Dovchenko's car all the way over to the barriers. I hope he's okay. I hope our AMR safety crew is on that quickly. But yeah, that's just a really awkward incident, because from his perspective, I can't even tell they make contact. So maybe a little bit of unfortunate circumstances, maybe a bit of net code, but he is rolling and rolling. Did you count how many times that was? I think I lost count, like three or four through.
Yeah, that was the only time I've seen an accident like that is in the 2001 movie Driven, which is a very bad movie created by Kart during its dying days. So, yeah, that accident wasn't the most realistic unless at a track like this. You're not going to be hitting speeds where you see cars go flying like that.
Yeah, I think it's always funny what iRacing, what their model comes up with sometimes, because I feel like, if you get spinning, you just won't stop. The momentum will just carry and wind resistance doesn't exist, friction doesn't exist, it feels like, and you'll just keep spinning, and I mean, it feels like forever. I've had some, in practice, when me and my teammates are messing around a little bit, we've had some crazy collision.
Yeah, and I mean, it isn't really, the sim originally wasn't really designed for open wheel crashes, so that also has something to do with it. The crash physics are still very similar to NR 2003. Which, while it does have absolutely spectacular crashes, in stock cars, open wheel cars, it isn't exactly, correct, but it does its best.
Yeah, but for the last time tonight, I'll mention Kyle Clenworth. He's had, that Wi-Fi disconnect early on, gets back, but he's a lap down, gets the lucky dog roll, goes back to that lead lap, gets back in 19th position, works his way all the way back up to 9th, but all of that work gone instantly from an unfortunate contact, and that will be the end of our championship leaders night. So promising coming into this race, and his run there at that last stint was looking so promising as well, but no more of that. And it's also the end of Dovchenko's night as well, as now 17 cars remain on this lead lap. 17 cars remain on the racetrack. Soloage, once again for the 6th or 7th time, will lead us to green. The pace car pulls in. When will he choose to go? It's going to be now, as the cars instantly come out of form once again. I wonder if Mautrek will look to make some really aggressive moves, as he did in that last restart. He's all the way up to 5th now. He might just try to improve his positions even more, but unfortunately, Donskoy is able to get around the outside of him, and he will fall back to 6th on that scenario.
Vitor Guilherme coming up to 3rd now as the field clobbers the wall, and I think Guilherme got around Eftink there, and he's going to try and make a move on Altena now.
Yeah, Guilherme's having a great restart. I was so focused on Mautrek, I didn't even see Guilherme, as he's now up to 3rd. Another yellow, the car's upside down on his roof. On his halo, I should say. These are not stock cars.
Aero screen.
Aero screen. That's a much better word. As his right front is not on the car. Oh, those two cars are making out down the front straight. A 3rd one gets connected as well. Looks like 3 cars were involved in that accident.
That was Eftink who was connected to the other car.
Oh, you're right. How did that happen? He was up in the front of the pack. Does he make contact with Altena? Or maybe that was a train reaction. We saw a little bit of smoke. Does he get loose coming back onto the track from the apron? No, this is all very confusing.
Yeah, maybe it happens
into here. Okay, so yeah, maybe it happens into here. Here we go. Oh, it makes contact with Strauss, I believe that is. And their cars just... Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Their cars just won't get apart from each other. That happens a lot. It's really awkward in iRacing where 2 cars will just get stuck to each other. And Hugo Gala is going to be the unfortunate victim of that, as he's already lost his right front there, but he's got it back, but then he makes contact there, as a lot of weird, wacky netcode stuff is happening all up and down the field. But yeah, 3 cars will be out from that contact. It's Eftink, it's Strauss, and it is Galaz. unfortunately.
Although Eve-Tink and the others are just down pit road making pit stops. It doesn't seem like they got that much damage as they just got connected together in weird iRacing physics things.
That's so surprising because usually when you weld metal together like that, it's not too good. But I guess iRacing does what iRacing wants to, and as you said, Eve-Tink will make his way back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, that Hugo Galache, that looked similar to like that one incident under caution with like what was it, Newgarden going over the top of De Silvestro like 10 years ago.
Oh my god. I don't know. I haven't been following racing for that long.
But yeah, that was like at St. Petersburg, like I think it was De Silvestro slowed under caution to warm up the tires, and Joseph Newgarden didn't see it and just ran over the rear and went flying under caution, so that looked very similar to that. As we're back, one to go. Here's hoping we can get another green flag run going.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. That green flag run was really nice to watch. You saw all these strategy plays out of Amon Law and a little bit of Eve-Tink as saving tires that became much racier towards the end of that stint. But unfortunately, if we keep getting cautions like this, we'll never see that payoff of what those really long stints can bring us. Some really good racing. We're running down our top 5. We got Soloage, we got Altena, we got Galherme, moving it to that 3rd podium position as Eve-Tink was a part of that last accident. We got Maltrek and we have Kinder. And just behind him, lurking in the background, we have Amon Law, which we saw maybe, he wasn't at top 5 earlier, but maybe he's dropped back, saving tires, hoping for another long stint. But that does not matter right now because now we're going green. Soloage takes that flag once again, defends that outside line from Altena. Altena goes to the bottom. Can he find something on this outside? Probably not. Just not able to get a run down that inside as Maltrek once again looking racy. He's now having to defend from Kinder as Kinder looks around the outside of him, and it looks like Kinder will be able to take away position 4 from him as Galherme now looks on Altena down the inside. He goes into 1. Probably not going to be able to make it stick because of that outside line. No, he does! Pulls the slide jump off. I stand corrected. Galherme now moves up to 2nd. Altena, who was your leader just 20 laps ago, moves all the way down to 3rd. And now Kinder is looking on the attack as Low gets up into the wall a little bit. Doesn't look like any harm from there. And Clenworth has a meatball flag. He's still racing. Clenworth, I thought he was out. I thought he was out, but he's still racing. He got a meatball flag, has to pull into the pit lanes. We'll get that a little bit later, but for now, let's take a look at this battle for the lead.
Yeah, Kyle Clenworth came back on track after the incident, but again, another incident, that's probably his night done. Some days it's just not your night, as Soloage continues to lead. Guillermo Stark in the back as we see battle for 4th here. Gonna get a look at replay of Clenworth here. He's probably just gonna get a little loose on exit. Yep. And it stays green below the line.
But I wonder if he was still maybe racing with some damage. Brought that car back to pit lane, tried to get as much damage repaired. I mean, to me at least, it looked like he had too much damage to keep racing. But these drivers really like to be aggressive with those, see how much damage they can fix, see if they can get back on the racetrack. So my assumption is he was racing with damage, just caught him off guard, and that should be the end of his night. But I feel like I've said that so many times, and I've been proven wrong so many times that I don't even want to say it again. But now we have a battle for 10th place. I believe this is Jesper Orman and Andres Vince. I believe this is 9th and 10th place as Orman looks to get that move done on this occasion.
He's able to keep that position. Vince going to look to the outside, but I think he's too far back now to get a run and get going. On a track like this, it's so hard to pass. I keep saying that throughout this race, but it's so hard to pass around here. Just due to the fact that the straights aren't really long enough to build a running. You're using that short track package, which has more downforce, which needs more dirty air.
Yeah, and especially since the straights are shorter, you're going to spend more times in the corner. So that more dirty air has even more of an effect since so much more percentage of your race is driven in those corners. And yeah, passing around here is so hard, especially if you're in a group. Because not only are you getting dirty air from the car in front of you, you're getting dirty air from the car 2 cars ahead of you, and the car 3 cars ahead of you. So just a lot of dirty air being passed all the way back through the field. just makes passing here really hard, which is why I'm sure a lot of these drivers are opting to tire save and fuel save, unless they know they can really get a move done. As Mautrek looking really racy, trying to get that P4 back that he lost in the restart, and Altena even maybe looking for something on Guilherme. And if I'm Solowaj, I would love seeing second and third and fourth and fifth battling. Pulled a 7/10 gap now, and he's just looking to extend as much as possible.
Yeah, he's just trying to extend that gap, just keep building that gap, just trying to extend that lead as he sees Malkruk trying to make an inside, but he's just not able to get that run through the corner to get alongside or in front and able to then slide up. So really here, the slide job is the move you want to be doing, it looks like, is it's so hard to just get those different lines. You can see he's going to slow up there through 3 and 4, get a bit loose. Malkruk's going to dive to the bottom here, but he's just not going to be able to get alongside enough, and he's going to have to slow up a lot more through the corner, and you're able to roll that outside, get a lot more momentum as, we're still about 20 laps away from the next round of pit stops due to all those cautions, but we've passed 100 laps finally.
We've done it, 125 to go now. Not quite halfway through the race, but we will be approaching that shortly as Mautrek maybe looking for a move here on Kinder. Gets a little bit alongside, but Kinder's going to have a nice run to make sure that nothing actually happens there. And I wonder if Mautrek is... I don't know if he's actually trying to get a move onto Kinder, or maybe if he's just trying to find clean air by going to that lower line. So you never really know what the driver's thinking. We can only kind of guess. But wow, that gap that was 7/10 3 laps ago, now been brought to a whole second from Solowaj over Guilherme. And yeah, here we go. Mautrek once again looking for a move on Kinder. So I guess he was not just trying to look for clean air. He is looking for that 4th position back, but he has to be careful. Ahmad Law is lurking in the shadows right behind him. If Mautrek gets too bad of a run using the inside line, Law is right there behind to see if he can take away that top 5 position from Mautrek.
Yeah, but a good run from Ahmad Law. He did lose the championship just due to luck and just not having a great race in the Global Indycar Challenge. Looking to rebound here, and as well after a tough race for all the Altena drivers at Altena Autosport drivers at Homestead. Multiple incidents of them getting run into each other, and then Julian Altena got taken out very late in the race due to Moza deciding to screw him. So,
and that is why I race Fanatec. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, once again, the battle for second. The battle for second as Altena has decreased that gap to just under a 10th now. Has the outside line, might even have a better run here on Guilherme. Guilherme playing that really defensive inside line just might hurt him in the end as now Altena dives to the inside. Can he pull off the slide job? Looks like he's going to make it happen. He does. Guilherme now looking for the inside, looking for the over-under. I don't think he has it. Just not quite. Oh, he taps Altena! Netcodes Altena into the wall. That's his race over. As you see, that left side pod is completely off of his car.
Oh, tough break. I mean, that's iRacing netcode for you. Guilherme's across the ocean in Brazil, so... And Altena's in, I think it's the Netherlands? Or is it, no, he's German, so... That's your classic netcode issue. It's so common. I mean, it's not as bad as the Australians. Shout out to all of the classic Australian netcode incidents I've seen. But, yep, that's netcode. That is
wow. That's egregious, too. That's one of the worst I've ever seen. That's really unfortunate for Altena. I can't lie. That is so far. I might be able to lay down in between the gap that was between their two cars there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thing of these sims because, well, they're racing for people all around the world. So we've seen netcode strike tonight. It will probably strike again. I mean, we see some games on pit road here. Ahmad Law. I think Ahmad Law is going to get a black flag for that because I think he passed the commitment cone, or no, he didn't. The commitment cone. No, it's on the it's past the wall entrance now. So at least that's good. So at least he. But hey, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of takers for pit road. Looks like Bryce Saucier, Mike Jensen, Dent Ench, Jesper Orman, Yaroslav Donskoy. Bunch of people diving down in the pit road. Your top, I believe, 6 or 7 did stay out on that occasion. Looking to extend what they still have in their car as far as possible. Another driver that pulled in the pits will be Julian Altena, of course, the owner of this series. So hoping that he can get that car fixed, maybe still, you know, fight for some positions if you can get a couple lucky dogs, get back on the lead lap. But as of now, he is 2 laps down on pit road, but I'll keep you updated on that as it further advances.
Yeah, and a tough break for him. 2 DNFs in a row, not a great start for the season, especially a season as short as this. So I don't like calling championship contenders out or early in the season, but
it's going to be hard, essentially, for him to bring it back.
Yep, pretty hard.
But once again, the lights on that pace car go off. Soloage, Guilherme, Kinder, this top 3 that we've gotten so well to know that Soloage, Altena, Eftink has been completely changed besides Soloage, who's been driving a great race so far. You know, put the car on pole and has just, you know, lost the lead to Altena for that little bit, but got it right back on the restart. And now as he's approaching turn 3, he's going to lead the field to green once again. But this time, instead of defending from Altena, has to defend from Guilherme. So, you know, a different driver behind, maybe not used to his driving style or what he likes to throw or what he likes to use for attacks. So maybe it'll take Soloage a little bit of learning to see Guilherme's pattern. But none of that matters right now because here we go to the green flag, passing the Echo Park sponsorships as for 5 wide in the back there. That is going to be very, very risky. Who was that? That yellow and black car that just made up like 3 or 4 positions. Was that was Jesper Orban. Jesper Orban on the fresh tires, his new tank load, just sent it 5 wide down the inside and made 3 or 4 positions there. Great stuff from him.
Yeah, but that was really aggressive. And he's fighting that car right now. He's having to hold off Roden Eftink, who had that issue early in the race. He's back up to 8th, so he was able to get a couple positions off that as well. As the field starts to spread out once again, you can see the Indy Snake starting at the front with them trying to break the draft.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Snake because you think the straights are so short here you don't have to, but you know, if they're that close behind and you really don't feel like you can just hold off, maybe snaking is what you have to do. And I do have an update on Altena. He's now 6 laps down. Unfortunately, has not come out of the pit, so it does look like he has retired the car for the night, unfortunately. But Eftink is back in the race once again. So maybe, you know, he had really, really good pace earlier on in this race. We saw him in that podium position for so much of that first part of the race. Maybe he's looking to get back up there and still fight for some good points.
Yep, I mean, you're going to want to try and get as much points as possible. I mean, Kyle Klemworth has already lost 1 race due to him being out of the race, so Roden Eftink's probably in the catbird seat for the points lead following tonight because he's having a good top 10 run. And there were a lot of DNFs in the previous race. I think only 11 cars finished race 1, if I remember correctly.
I mean, we only have 15 left right here, so just halfway through the race with already 15 cars, with only 15 cars left, we might be looking for a similar result.
Yep, we could be, but I mean, there was a lot less cars to lose this time and no massive accident that took out 20 cars at once like it did at Homestead. But
oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, I unfortunately was not able to watch that race, but a 20-car pileup does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It happened on a restart, and, well, with how packed these fields are on a restart, 1 car makes a touch, and, well, everyone's involved.
Yeah, that's how racing is one time. I still remember, you know, when you're shown those Daytona 500 wrecks of all the cars so close, and, you know, the leader gets a little bit loose and just the entire field behind wrecks because these cars are racing so close from each other, or so close to each other. It's essentially 180 mile an hour rush hour, which is crazy to think about. But once again, Soloage, I don't know if he's just overdriving his tires or if he just has that much more pace. Already pulled out over a second gap from second place behind Guilherme. It's only been like 8 or 9 laps since that restart, so he's showing really, really good pace there. I mean, he is the pole sitter. That is kind of what we expect from him, but you know, earlier on those stint with Altena, with Eftink, we didn't quite see that gap. So
yeah,
maybe it's just...
I think
go ahead.
Guilherme, he was trying to hold off Kinder and Malcorrect behind him, and that just slowed him up on those early starts because he's only 0.1 of a second off on the same lap times that Solowash is doing right now. So it does build up, but I think the large part of that gap happened when he was trying to hold off the guys behind him.
Yeah, that would make sense. And now that Guilherme is out of the draft of Solowash, he's not going to be able to pull to reel him in so easily as if he was closer, you know. Of course, you have dirty air, but that draft is a lot of what is able to keep you close to the car in front.
Yeah, it's really difficult to see as we're coming down to 100 laps to go here. Field seems to have calmed down. You see him on board with Monlal. He's trying to reel in Christian Malcorrect in front of him. So, Lal, brand new to the Altena Autosport. He had a really good season in the Global Indycar Challenge. Of course, fortunately, the cars didn't fall his way in the winner-take-all final race against Julian Altena, but he had a good season. He got onto this team, and he's showing why he's on that team here tonight.
Yeah, very good stuff from him. And once again, I'll talk about it. I loved his strategy plan for that first stint. We saw he had so much pace during the end of that stint, where he was able to make up like 4 or 5 positions right before that caution happened with those leaders and the one that Yves Tink was involved in. So yeah, maybe he's looking to try the same thing here again, or maybe he just wants to go and straight attack Meltrek. We know Meltrek is a very aggressive driver, as here's a battle for 7th, I believe, as Yves Tink looks on the inside of Jesper, or Man. We know both these drivers are very, very strong. Yves Tink's been up in the top 3 much of this race. Orman had that great move at the beginning of that last restart. So 2 very strong drivers. I'm curious to see how that battle keeps going, but on that occasion, Orman was able to hold him off.
Field seems to be starting to spread out. Not that much battles on track other than these close cars due to the fact it's so hard to pass here, but it's starting to get into that point of the race where everything starts to settle down and we get ready for those final pit stops and everything goes to the end. I mean, right now we're in that part of the race where everyone starts to settle down. So, and yep, it seems like Solowash is able to, he's a lot faster. He's 0.1 of a second faster than the rest of the field each lap right now. He's a 10th of a second faster.
Yeah, he has found what he's had to do, whether it be different line he's taking, different roll bars, or different weight jacker settings, but he has, and Bryce Saucier does have a meatball, so we'll try to see if we can get a replay onto what happened there, but he's going to have to bring that car down to pit lane, and yeah, he is very slow. I can't see any damage, but he has obviously been falling through that pack, down to 15th now. Here we go. This is what happened just a couple laps ago. Unfortunate day for the rookie. Oh, just understeers into the wall. That's really unfortunate. These Indy cars are so unpredictable sometimes, and sometimes you just understeer straight into a wall, white wall it, and that is not going to be the end of his night. Probably just some right side wing damage. But that's going to put a lot of luck there.
I think that would have been suspension damage, so he might be done for the night.
Yeah, suspension damage would, you'd be right, suspension damage would be it. Which would bring us to only 14 cars remaining for this race. Which we have lost, I believe, he would be our 11th, sorry, yeah, he'd be our 11th driver lost so far. So we still have more than half the field, which is good, right? You know, goals, you know, you gotta work up through your goals, right? So half the field finish the race, then you can go, you know, work it up step by step. But once again, I pointed out so many times already, but Guilherme now 3 seconds behind Solowash. So if no more cautions come to this race, it is going to be very, very hard to close that gap in, especially with how well he's been driving. And something that I think happened during the replay, Jesper Orman, who was in 7th, has now fallen down to 9th. So not only did he get passed by Rodin Yves Tink, he also got passed by Sebastian Dufresne. So I don't quite know what happened to Orman, but he has dropped to 9th there.
Yeah, tough break. I mean, if you lose one position, you get stuck on the outside, you're going to lose another. It just happens every single time at like many different tracks. This is certainly one of the easy ones you can see. Behind him, Andres Vinci is looking, but actually, Orman did gain that position back, so he's back up to 8th now. and Vinci was able to get by Dufresne.
Yeah, so it just seems to be a big battle happening between Yves Orman and Vinci, that 7, 8, 9 position. Yves leading that field, trying to see if he can get closer to Donskoy. Currently like a 1.4, 1.5 second gap. But we know Yves has the pace, and we know that he's going to be looking really racy towards the end of the stint. As here is your battle for that last podium position, Mautrek on Kinder. The gap's just kind of hovering around 0.3 of a second. I don't think Mautrek's going to look for anything as of now. With still 91 to go, yes, you do want to start making moves, being more aggressive, but there's still so much left of the race. You really just want to wait for your opponent to make a mistake instead of forcing yourself into one. But he does dive low here, maybe just trying to put some pressure onto Kinder, as probably nothing's going to come with that.
Yeah,
but he does have to be careful, because Law now with the outside line, trying to see if he can get a run on Mautrek, and Mautrek might just lose out. Law dives down to the inside, and he might just be able to. Mautrek defending with that outside line, and Law will get the move done. So I was talking about it, you really don't want to be too aggressive because there's still 90 to go. Mautrek looks for the inside of Kinder and loses the position to Law while doing that. And Law now looking for Kinder. Law is really like turned on here. And the literally last 2 laps, he's maybe turned his roll bars more aggressive. Maybe he's deciding to push his tires a little bit more. But he's looking really racy and is now hunting down Kinder.
Yep, he's absolutely hunting him down now. It looks like he's just able to roll that car better than a lot of other people. I mean, he's got those Altena Autosport coaches to help him out now. He's really good on these shorter tracks. He won in the GIC at Iowa. He absolutely dominated that race. And here it's looking like it's a lot of the same. He's able to, he just is very good at these shorter ovals. So
yeah, Law,
and he did. Stop.
Oh, yeah, pit stop. That's Solowaj and Guilherme, your first and second place position cars. As Law did also get past Kinder, so now he is going to pick up that bonus point for leading a lap because those 2 cars came to the pit. So, since, Law, Kinder, Mautrek, they're able to save a little bit more fuel, able to stay out and pick up that championship point as Kinder locks up coming into the pit stop. We're going to hope he didn't get a penalty for that because those are race ruiners. It's a 40-second penalty for just a little bit of speeding. As Law and Mautrek and Donskoy still stay out, rounding out your top 3. So I believe that is 3 cars now that came down to pit road, and here we go. And Mautrek and Law will now drop into the pit lane. I think Mautrek was just hoping Law would pit a little bit earlier than him, seeing if he can get that championship point for leading a lap. But unfortunately, he was not able to. And now this is going to be very spicy coming out of pit road. Where will Law end up? Where will Mautrek end up? In correspondence to Kinder and Guilherme and Solowaj, your leaders of this race. It's going to get very spicy on pit road, or is the undercut going to work? Where if you pit earlier, you have those better tires for those laps, and they don't really have to worry about it.
Yep. Donskoy and Yves currently lead 1 and 2. They pitted under the last caution, so it seems like they might be able to go a bit farther. I mean, there's going to be everyone's going to have to make one more stop in this race. So we will see how long they're able to extend it, but you will have to make one more stop.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Yves Donskoy or Orman, you're staying out. You're throwing that undercut out the window, and you're trying to hope for an overcut or hoping for a caution. So if a caution comes out right now, you're looking really good if you're in that top 7 and you're not the lap down. But then, of course, they also have the overcut option. You pit later, you have better tires. You build that offset essentially. You build that 10, that 15 lap offset, and just that might be enough to give you that bit of pace advantage and look for some moves later on in the race.
It also limits your time on pit road to fuel up during that last stop, and limiting time on pit road is very important in these oval races because it's so easy to lose. Like we've already, a lot of these guys lost a lap on pit road. If you're able to get out there with less fuel, you should be able to get to the end. Like just limit that time. You might not lose a lap. You might be able to stay on a lap. You never know.
So it looks like Solowaj in 8th place, leading that group that's a lap down that pits. And I'm actually curious to see where Solowaj is in comparison to Donskoy. If maybe Solowaj will look to unlap himself before Donskoy even makes his pit stop. That could be interesting to see, and that could get really spicy as we know that lapped cars are able to battle in this series. And I'm looking at the timing sheets. It looks like I don't think they're that close. We might not get to see that battle, but that could be interesting.
Roden Eftink is on lap 60 of his stint. He's going to have to come in real soon. So he's on a completely different strategy to everyone else around him. So
yeah, as you said, the rookie Eftink might have to make a dive to the pit lane soon, but he's going to stay out as long as possible, hoping, praying for a caution to put him in a good race-winning position by the end of this race. But he gets past, so I think that's him coming down to the pit lane right now. You said it perfectly, timing. 60 laps into the stint, he has to come down to pit road, and now he's going to fuel up that nice orange car and get back onto the racetrack as quick as possible, and we'll see where he fits into that group of lap down cars. My guess is he'll be right behind Vinci. He might even get behind. He might even fall behind Dufresne if that undercut works really well. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yep, and the other cars in front are starting to come around to the beginning of their fuel window, although it might be extended due to those caution periods. They're going to have to stop sooner or later, so they will have to make one more stop towards the end of this race.
Yeah, since there was roughly, 80 laps to go, 85 laps to go, when the leaders made that stop, unfortunately, you cannot get to the end of the race just on one stop. So as you said, they'll probably come in, they'll either split it in half, pit lap 40-ish, or they can do what Eftink was trying to do and hold out as long as possible, hold out for a caution. As Eftink actually comes out ahead of Vinci. So right behind Malturek, pretty good position for him to come out in. I believe that's effectively, let's see, that's like 7th or 8th place effectively. So now he's going to be hoping to really try to bring back those podium positions. As Donskoy and Orman have a lot of fuel here, I'm curious to see how long they can stay out for.
Yep, it'll have to be interesting to see what they can do. Hoping to get to the end of that race, just hoping to finish all that up and trying to work on that. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but now with 71 to go, around this New Hampshire 225 presented by Lovren Incorporated. Unfortunately, the sponsor of today fell to a lot of misfortune. Gary Lovren down there in 24th. His race ended a while back. But we still have 14 cars currently driving in this race. We have Yaroslav Donskoy in first, Jesper Orman, Jane Kosher, Mike Jensen, Mason Mitchum rounding out your top 5. We have Dan Ensch, who is the last car on the lead lap right now. And then, of course, we have those drivers who just recently pit, who were leading this pack not too long ago. And that starts with Kostek Solowoj, Viter, Vitor Guilherme, Aman Lal, Sebastian Kinder, Christian Malturek, Roden Eftink, Andres Vinci, and Sebastian Dufresne. So I am really, really excited and curious to see what happens when these top 6 cars pit, how it shakes out. And just really, where the cars will scissor into place. Because, these cars didn't pit from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they pit from 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9. So the cars are gonna really they're gonna mix up, they're gonna intertangle. Really,
battle for position here. Aman Lal able to dive down the inside of Vitor Guilherme, and he'll take provisional second following the end of the pit lane. Great move there.
Yeah, I didn't even see that was happening on my screen. Rookie on rookie action there. Aman Lal and Guilherme probably doesn't have the speed right now to look back for that position, and Aman Lal making so many good moves this race. Was he the one that started 18th? I can't quite remember.
No, that's Guilherme who started 18th. Lal started
That's Guilherme who started 18th. So it's got to be a great race for him. He's up to 3rd. But Lal also for for Altena Motorsports making a great race, great comeback here.
Yeah, but of course the other 3 Altena cars all DNF'd in this race. That's unfortunate for them, but yeah, it's going to keep going on. Continue to come into... We're coming close to the end of the main stint for the guys in front, so it'll be interesting to see what happens during that. Vitor Guilherme just trying to look at that car, but Lal has 2 lap fresher tires than the cars around him, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out over the rest of this stint.
Yeah, and 2 laps fresher tires, it doesn't sound like a lot, especially with only 21-second laps around here. But it really can be. It really can be the difference between just that much of an edge over your opponent to, you know, find that one opening, find that one opportunity to make a pass. So the overcut can be very, very viable around here if you play it right. But yeah, as you said, these top guys are going to have to come in soon, which will of course bring Solowaj and Lal and Guilherme back into those, you know, those top 3 podium positions. As they were before all the pit cycles happened. But once again, those top guys going to be hoping for a caution. But as the field thins out, as more people DNF and, you know, are taken out of the race, cautions become less and less likely to happen. Which means these caution-based strategies, they don't become as effective. But now what I'm realizing is Donskoy, Orman, Kosher, all those guys, they will only have to make 1 more stop at this point.
Well, everyone has to make 1 more stop. So, but they might be trying to fuel save so they can get away with just making 1 more stop at this point.
Exactly. So, yeah.
It'll be tough to do. You'll have to save like 6, 7, 8 laps, which I don't know if that's possible under green. So it'll be interesting to see.
But yeah, if those 6 guys, they'll essentially save themselves an entire pit stop over the course of the race. Because right now, what it looks like is, you know, oh, they haven't pit yet, so they'll just fall back into place. But of course, if they pit, we know that Solowaj all the way down to 14th, we know they have to pit again. But if that, you know, those first 6 positions, if they can last to like lap 55 here, they're in a very strong position to not have to pit again after that pit stop and be in a really, really strong position to win this race, especially if you're Donskoy.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to do a mega fuel stave, which it's turning into a fuel strategy race, and with a race as short as this, that's kind of surprising, but it seems like it's working out that way, which, I mean, it may not be the most exciting type of finish, but it can be if you're a stats nerd.
Yeah, that's... And I think Donskoy might be heading down to pit lane now. You have Donskoy or Orman both taking their pit stops. So, 57 laps on this last stint if they're opting for that strategy. Not easy, but not impossible either. You know, these drivers...
Shane Cooker will stay out. Shane Cooker and Mike Jensen are staying out. So they're going to try and extend it even more.
Okay, yeah, so as you see other drivers wanting to make this stint harder, maybe make that last stint a little bit easier. But as I was saying, these drivers have a lot of resources at their convenience. You know, race labs, iOverlay, that give them live updates on their field count and live updates on their field numbers, so they know exactly how much they have to save, so they can be as quick as possible per lap, with staying inside those field numbers. So that's another reason why fuels strategy races are so prevalent nowadays, is because of these external resources like iOverlay, like race lab.
Shane Cooker will get to 55 laps to go. We'll see if Mitchum's going to stay out. He's going to try and go as long as possible. Same with Dan Ench. They seem to be trying to go as long as possible, trying to get to that 53 to go marker. They might be able to pull this off.
Yeah, and in a race where not a lot of battling is happening, it's hard to pass. Pack position might be what you need. Even if they have to stay in 6th gear the entire race and hold the clutch in the corners, you know, maybe even increase their map to map 3, map 5, you know, those fuel-saving modes of the IndyCar. If you have the track position, maybe they're just able to hold out, and it's looking really, in my opinion, it's looking very, very strong for these guys that stayed out. Especially, you know, Mason Mitchum, who stayed out longer, and especially Donskoy, who was in the lead of that fuel-saving pack. As now
Mitchum and Ench made it to lap 53.
Wow. So yeah, as you said, they'll have 52 laps only to save this last stint. That is very, very doable. Almost on the line of really not even saving that much. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if, they didn't have track position on those guys like Donskoy or Mon, but they won't have to save as much. So there are so many drivers in contention to win this race. Like, can I say that? That's crazy. Solo-wise, Law, of course, they're in contention on that A strategy. Then you have your leaders on the B strategy, like Donskoy, like Orman. And then you have that other strategy, that C strategy, where they went even longer on that last stint, Mitchum and Ench. So we have 6 potential drivers in contention to win this race. And that's not even including chaos that could happen, that could get someone like Mautrek or Kinder to win. So much going on here. Make sure to stay tuned to the end.
Yeah, 50 laps to go. We're into that final stint. Everyone in this front pack will have to pit again. Mitchum and Ench, I do not think will have to pit again. So they are able to go to the end, but they are 1 lap down. However, they're able to go to the end. So I think they were able to just save enough. It'll really depend on how much, like, Solowaj is, like, at his fastest pace, he was 0.4 of a second faster. So if they're able to get that lap back, and they're able to extend enough of a gap, they might be able to pull it off. It'll be really interesting. It'll probably come down to whenever Solowaj and them have to pit, and if they're able to get those lap back and get in front.
Yeah, and of course, as you mentioned right at the end there, they most likely will be able to get their lap back because Solowaj, Low, Goharme, Kinder, Mautrek, those top 5 guys, they have to pit again. They pit with 80, 85 laps to go in the race, and that you just can't save that much. We've talked about saving 60 potentially at the most, but 80 would just be impossible unless you are driving around the track at 30-second lap time, which we know they haven't been doing because Solowaj, Log, Goharme, they're all running, those mid to high 21s. So we know for certain those guys have to pit again, which once again effectively puts Donskoy in the lead of this race. So now if I had to put bets right now, he would be my bet to win this race on that B strategy.
Yeah, but he's got to save a lot of fuel. He's still got to save like 6-7 laps, and it doesn't really look like he's doing that right now. He's doing 22-second laps. I don't think he's saving that much. I think he knows he has to pit once again. He has to pit again, but he might be able to limit that time on pit road because they'll have to take less fuel.
Yeah, and Mautrek now looking on Kinder, battle for 4th. We've seen these two scrapping it out for this entire last stint. Mautrek did start that restart in 4th position. Kinder got him on the restart, but Mautrek has been clinging onto his bumper for so much of this last part of the race. He has just not wanted to let go. And now, something I just noticed, that gap between Solowaj and Law, we saw that gap, 3.5 seconds, drop down to only 1 second.
Solowaj doesn't have I think he hit the wall somewhere. But he doesn't have a last lap time on timing, so I think he might have copped a 0x. He might have hit the wall.
Oh, he something might have happened. He might have netcoded out maybe disconnection errors, but you see he's disappeared from all of our timelines. So maybe just a quick internet error. Maybe that caused him a little bit of damage. Maybe that caused him a little bit of, probably not damage, but like he wasn't on the gas for a little bit, so it just cost him some time. But now Mautrek and Kinder, Mautrek looking on the inside, trying to take that 4th position back. Can he get the move done? Side jobs all the way up the track. Kinder with the over-under, though. 97 on the 96. Kinder is going to have to file in line, and Mautrek gets that move done. He's been wanting to do it for the last 60 or 70 laps, so finally gotten it done. Good on him. And now Law, we talked about what happened with Solowaj. Law has gotten that gap into just under a second. So even though Solowaj, Law on this A strategy, in my opinion, they're not looking like the favorites to win this race. They're still going to try and fight for position and try as best they can. And Law is going to want to close that gap and probably drive really aggressively in these last 40 laps.
Yeah, he's going to want to be as aggressive as possible and try and get to the end. It'll be really tough to do. So they'll see if they can do it. We'll see. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. This is turning into a very interesting race after a very chaotic first half.
Yeah, and now even Guilherme, look at that gap back to the leader, only 2 seconds as well. So Guilherme and Lal both in position to lead this this A strategy, this front group here. And Mautrek now passing Kinder. He's 4.5 seconds back from Soloway, roughly 2.6 from Guilherme. Maybe now he's looking to catch up to that pack and even fight for some podium positions as well. But Donskoy and Orman now, I still think it's on them. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm curious to hear what you think. Daniel. But that's Guilherme, and I believe that's a. I don't think that's for position. I think it's a lapped car, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's Mike Jensen. He just went 3 laps down.
Okay, so he's allowed to fight that one, but no more for him. As now, then Amon Law on lap traffic as well. So we're getting psyched out a little bit by what I'm seeing on screen, by iRacing itself, I guess I could say. By these drivers looking really aggressive against these lap cars, but no battles for positioning are happening at the moment. We will make sure that if they do, we will get that for you guys. Yeah, as I was saying, Donskoy and Orman, I think they really have a shot to make it, and I think Donskoy really needs to start saving fuel here. He's still doing sub 22s, so either that is the pace that he knows he has to hit, or he's just not doing enough.
Yep, and we're coming up onto the end of the stint for Soloway, Lal, and Guilherme and everything. They're on 52 laps. They're right on the edge of the fuel window. They're going to have to pit soon.
Yeah, and as we know, there's really no point for those top 5 guys to save. So I think you're right. I think we'll see some pit stops from them in maybe the next 1 or 2 laps. Because their strategy at this point is to push all out the entire rest of the race if they want to catch up to those guys that saved. Like Mitchum, like Donskoy. So there's no saving from them. They just have to drive as aggressively and as quickly as possible.
Yep, and well, on to lap 54 for Soloway. She's probably going to have to come in like the next 1 or 2 laps, so I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that dive next time by. Lal has about a couple more than the others, and it seems like he's really getting close, so I think Soloway is probably starting to save to try and limit the amount of fuel he has to put in the car for the end.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Soloway stayed out just like 1 extra lap, seeing if he can get a caution. So maybe he's like running really low on fuel and just wants to extend by like 2 or 3 laps here. But it's kind of, in my opinion, too little too late. Because when you start fuel saving this late into a stint, not only can you not save that much, but you have to slow down so much that you become in very heavy risk of the cars behind. As we see, Lal has already gotten into 4/10 of a gap behind him now.
I'm surprised Soloway is just able to stay out, but the fuel stint numbers that we were predicting might not be correct due to the low temperature or something like that. Because they're able to go 57, 58 laps at full tilt, it seems. So they're going to have to pit soon. And yep, we see him on Law blinking this time by. He's coming in.
Law pulls into the pit, but Soloway stays out, which is very, very interesting. Maybe Soloway has like last second decided to see if he can extend for a caution. You know, he solved those drivers on that B strategy, on that C strategy. So maybe he's like, okay, I can't beat them on pace because they've saved better. So maybe he's just trying to copy them or mimic them and seeing what he can do, but I think he pulls in the pits now. So there he goes. He was able to save a little bit more than we thought, but still not enough to make it to the end of the race, or not even enough to get him to a caution.
Vitor Guilherme is going to stay out for an extra lap as well. He'll get a bonus point for leading a lap, and he might stay out another time.
Yeah, but there he goes in the pit lane, and I assume Kinder will follow him very shortly as well, because we know that those 5 cars, that top group of 5, all pit together. But Kinder might look to extend just that 1 extra lap, as you know, that bonus point that we love talking about. A point's a point, you know. But yeah, once Kinder comes in the pits, Donskoy will once again be the leader of this race. And in my opinion, not even a net leader. Or, not even an effective leader, just the net leader. Because I think Donskoy can do enough to win this race.
He might be able to save to the end, which it was looking like it was hard to do, but they're able to do these 60, 70, 80 laps and stuff like that, which is very interesting. So,
Yeah, I think you said it earlier. I think the weather is having to do a lot with it. I remember we saw earlier the track temp was very low, 22C, around 73, 74 for my American viewers. Now it's only up to 24. That is very, very cold. That gives you more grip. It allows you to just be a little less conservative on the throttle, and that probably is, I can't think of the word, but that's probably helping with the driver's cause for fuel saving.
Yeah,
now that's Andres
blinks.
Yep.
Yves Tink will have to pit soon. He's in lap 52 of his stint, so it's very interesting, but it doesn't look like it's going to work for him. But he might be able to finish at the top 5 from this.
Yeah, so we can, of course, we can see how that ends up. But once again, he's 7 seconds back from Ormond, which is actually kind of an insane gap. Plus, he has to pit soon. So not looking too good for him. Of course, we know he had that accident earlier, so he's just trying to, damage limitation, just trying to bring back as many points as he can to himself in the championship. And he's done a pretty good job of it, but probably not going to be able to fight for these podium positions as we see he is right now.
Malkrek and Kinder once again swapping again, this time for 9th place.
Yeah, we saw them. They had a huge battle for so much of this race. Kinder, I guess, did Kinder pass him in the pit stop? Malkrek had a little bit of a worse pit stop and gets him back there. As now, is that Ensch behind Kinder? Is that for a position behind, or is that a lap car?
That is.
It looks to be for position. That is lap car. Okay.
Yeah, that is the 78 of Dufresne, who is a lap down behind these guys.
Gotcha. So Dufresne maybe looking to pass Kinder, trying to make his way through the field, seeing if he can unlap himself. But Kinder, of course, not wanting a car in front of him that is just a rear that will slow him down, will be trying to defend for that position. And now we have Maltrek, who's also running into some lap traffic. Can't quite tell who that is, but he's going to look for the inside, and there it is, Yves Tink into the pit lane. That'll push him all the way down to 11th position, just ahead of Vinci as he was the last time they all pit. So, for crashing out, not crashing out, but for having a lot of damage and being in a wreck, bringing him back to P11th, really good effort from him.
Yeah, pretty good effort. It'll probably be... He might have the points lead due to Klenberg crashing out, so... I don't know who will have the points after this. It'll be really interesting to see, because...
It's going to be close, yeah.
But, I mean, a lot of people did not finish the previous race, so this will shake up the points. Probably won't be a big... We're probably still going to be, 50-plus points for the lead. It won't be at 100 points yet.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very tight... pack for the top 10 even in position for the standings, just because, you have Clenworth, who won the last race, finishing 18th here. And then you have these drivers probably in the midfield that, they finished top 10 both races, just in the back half of the top 10, but those consistent points can really elevate them in the standings. So I think we're going to get a real mess of really close championship standings here.
Yeah, and it seems like... I think, yes, that is Soloway. She's right behind Donskoy, trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. But if he's on the lead lap, I don't think there's enough time.
Yeah, so I think the only way Soloway can win this is to unlap himself here and then drive a whole other 21 seconds and catch up to him again, which is going to be so tough, but we saw the pace that Soloway has had today, frankly.
Yeah, there's only 13 laps to go, so
that's true. I'm trying to hype him up, but it's a ticking time bomb. It really is.
And here's Guilherme. He's right on the back of him. He's gonna try and get past him. So it seems like Guilherme is he's able to get by him here. Yep. Oh, it's a...
Oh no, Solowaj! And another netcode, the same exact spot. And I think it's the same exact driver on the inside. I think Guilherme. And yeah, Vitor Guilherme, that 4X puts him over the limit of that 15X, and he will now have to serve a drive-through penalty for that netcode incident. And Solowaj is able to save it. So great hands from Solowaj. But Guilherme will now have to come down pit road. As let's see, we can look at the netcode once again. I think we both know that it was just a really bad netcode incident, very similar to what we saw happen between Guilherme and Altena. And yeah, that's just, once again, I can lay down in between the gap there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Either way, this Donskoy probably breathing a sigh of relief from that, seeing that happening behind him. So now he just Malkarek is in the catbird seat if they have to pit once more, if they haven't saved enough. But they might have been able to. They're on lap 47. There's only 9 to go. I think they've done enough.
Yeah, at this point, if you're Orman, you're throwing fuel saving out the window, and you are full pushing to see if you can win this race. Or maybe you say, okay, I'm fine with the second. Let me just make sure I can get to the end of this race. I don't know too much how Jesper Orman thinks. But those are just two different mindsets you can really have with 8 to go here. But of course, being 5 seconds back, not a whole lot he can do unless he can outdrive and buy a second a lap. But you know, you always want to hope for the gaps to close up. You know, you always want to hope for a last second battle. But Donskoy is looking like a real favorite right now.
Yeah, but Amon Lal is actually in the catbird seat. He's on the lead lap. He was able to get it back the old-fashioned way. So if the guys in front have to pit, he's in the catbird seat to win this race.
Okay, yeah, you're 100% right with Solowaj. Oh, there's a caution. Solowaj looks to have gotten another wreck. So he doesn't have a front wing. So I can definitely tell something happened to him. Did he hit the wall by himself? So I guess something happened all the way in the back, but of course, he spun on the apron. Got too low, hits the wall, and of course, that car is not below the line, so it will bring out a caution. There are cars approaching him at racing speed. He is on the racing surface, and that will bring out a caution. And I wonder, once again, did he have damage from that contact with Guilherme, and did he just not expect his car to turn in that much? Yeah, the apron, I think the apron caught him out. I think you get down on that apron and your car becomes unbalanced. The left side of your car wants to go one way, the right side of your car wants to go another, and you know, you have these conflicting movements that your car is doing, and it just sends it around.
And I think that might be race over, because these races there won't be. Nope, we're going back green.
This is going to be insane. So it's going to be a rushed caution. Oh wow.
Amon Lal has like 30 lap newer tires.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. Since he was able to get on the lead lap, he doesn't go a lot. He's actually closed up right behind the leaders that stayed out. So Amon Lal, for Altena Motorsports, on a day where Julian Altena fell to the most unfortunate netcode I've seen in a long time, Amon Lal might be able to bring the win home for them still. And as these cars are approaching, it'll be, for the first time, Donskoy leading us to the green flag for a 3-lap shootout. They all get out of line instantly. Amon Lal drops all the way to the bottom. That's closed off by Shane Kosher. Kosher just does not have the tires to defend, though, as Orman looks down the inside of Donskoy, looking to take away the lead. We have a battle happening for third, battle happening for first. Lal gets past Shane Kosher, but Orman is not able to get past Donskoy. That now opens up Lal to attack Orman, to attack Donskoy with those 40-lap newer tires, as you mentioned. Goes around the outside. Orman is handed all the outside. That's where you want to be for this racing line. But no, Donskoy or Ormond is able to hold out. Maybe the overtaking moves are down the inside now.
Yeah, 1 lap to go, coming around this time by. Seems like Donskoy was able to get a big enough gap on that restart, and he's going to play a fuel-saving masterclass.
Yeah, so Donskoy takes the white flag first, but Amon Lal is not done yet. He wants to beat Jesper Ormond. He wants this second place. It doesn't look like he has the win, but Amon Lal does get second place entering turn 3. But the first driver to take the checkered flag, it'll be Yaroslav Donskoy winning this race in the 96 car, bringing it behind him, Amon Lal for Altena Motorsports, and Jesper Ormond bringing it home in third place to wrap out your podium positions.
That was a crazy race. I mean,
that was a great race.
And I believe that'll be Donskoy's first ever win in this league. He's not a rookie, but
my fault, absolutely.
Hey, he played a fuel-saving masterclass. So, in the Chili's machine, he's going to burn it down on the front stretch here, I think. Just watch.
Yeah, Donskoy for Cannoneer Speedworks only has 15 points in the championship right now. Wins that race, will give him a bonus 50. That's going to rocket him all the way up into probably the top 5 of the standings, as he burns it down in that Chili's branded 96. Great result from him. And yeah, you said it, fuel masterclass. Able to outsave the other drivers. Especially those drivers that look so dominant for so much of the race, like solo-wise. Able to out-fuel save him. And beautiful, beautiful win from him. And great race. I am very glad for anyone that stuck to the end of this live stream. It was a long one, but the payoff was definitely there.
Yeah, brilliant race today. Just a great race. Let's take a look at those results. The unofficial results at this time. I think that's what we're going to do next.
And here we go. Of course, your race winner in that 96 machine, Yaroslav Donskoy, bringing it home behind Amon Lal. Great race from him. We saw him come up all the way through the field. Jesper Ormond bringing it home in third. Behind him, Shane Kosher, Christian, Malcharek, Rodin, Evknink, so finishing 6th. So we saw him all the way down in 11th when he made that final pit stop, able to make up 5 positions in that last stint, up to 6th. In 7th will be Sebastian Kinder. Mason Mitchum brings it home in 8th. Dan Enshin 9th, and rounding off your top 10 is Vitor Gilherme.
Following up in 11th, it'll be Andres Vinci and Sebastian Dufresne and Mike Jensen, who are the last cars to finish, to not DNF. Everyone below him, Soloage, Saucier, Altena, Galage, Glenworth, Doshenko, Strauss, and the 5 cars behind that who were involved in early incidents, all DNF'd.
Yeah, and those 5 cars behind it to wrap out your top 25 are Polak, Teixeira, Moranyi, Laverne, and Brewer. And speaking of Laverne, once again, a huge shout out to the sponsor of this race, Laverne Incorporated. If you need some I think it's painting or construction done in the Denver, Colorado area, Laverne Incorporated was so graciously sponsored this race, so make sure to think of them.
Let's talk for our top 3. So first up, bring Yaroslav Donskoy down. That's for you, Lucas.
All right, here we go. I'm excited to talk to him. I'm excited to, and here he is, Donskoy. Great race. We saw you play the fuel saving masterclass. Just talk us through it. How were you able to keep on your numbers? What point were you able to think like, oh, I can finish this race with only one more stop. I might be in this chance to win this.
Well, yeah, hello everyone. Awesome race here. Yeah, I can't believe I actually won this, but like the turning point of the race was when I saw the caution come out with 119 laps to go, and it was, oh, okay, so we can go like 59 or 60 laps on full tank here, so if I pit now, I have a chance of finishing this if we get a caution-free race after that. So like I knew that like if I pit only, I could only pit once if I pit under that caution, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to be able to do anything with my track position because it's pretty hard to pass here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take the risk and try to do another strategy Like at that point, after having my front wing broken twice and falling to the back, trying to get back to the front, I knew that this race wasn't going to be really well for me, so I decided to take the risk, and it worked. Like, on the second stint, the last stint, I thought that I was going to run out of fuel because I go for my first 10 laps of that stint, and I see that my fuel is lower and lower. Like the auto fuel was saying that I had 60 laps of fuel when I came out of the pits, so I had like +5 laps from what I needed. And in like 10 or 15 laps, I noticed that my auto fuel was saying that I had only like +2 laps or so. And I started saving. I thought I wasn't gonna make it, but fortunately for me, I was able to like save for 3 laps, and it was enough. And from what I know, Jasper had some damage too, and it helped me also. And like when I saw that caution, I decided not to pit with 3 to go because I knew that I was going to be fourth, but 3 laps isn't enough to pass here. So I decided to take the risk and stay out, and it worked. And I'm really happy to be here. That's my first ever win in VOR. Yeah.
Yeah, so were you at all scared? Amand Lal started that restart in fourth, and he had much fresher tires than you 3 guys up ahead. Were you at all scared of the threat from him to maybe take away your win?
Yeah, I saw that he had fresh tires, but I knew that even though Eman was like fourth, I knew that he wasn't gonna be able to get to the front. Because it's pretty hard to pass here, especially if you're in P2. So I knew that even if he passes, like if he jumps to start and passes P3 and P2 and gets second, I had clean air, and in clean air tires don't really matter because like in clean air my laps before the caution were like 1/10 or 2/10 of my best lap in the race. So I mean, I knew that if he gets like a really good start, he can try to fight me, but it's pretty hard to pass here, and the different tires wasn't that bad, so like I wasn't really scared by that. I was only scared that I might be jumped on the start by Jasper or someone else, but it didn't happen, and yeah, I got really lucky there. But I'm happy to be here. I finally got some luck in the league races, and that's my first win in VOR. That's my first win in this car in a long time, so I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, and my final question for you, do you have any people or sponsors you want to shout out or thank?
Well, I want to thank everyone who was watching that race and wanted me to win this. I know that some of my friends were doing that. I want to thank Fyodor Davzhenko, my teammate who was sponsoring me after he got wrecked. And I also want to thank my team, Canadian Speedworks, who is also watching and rooting for me and wanting me to win this. But like thank you to everyone for supporting me. Like there were many people who gave me some advices, some tips how to drive this car, and all this comes to the point where I can fight with people who drive this car for years.
All right, well, that was your race winner, Yaroslav Donskoy in the 96 machine, winning it for Canonier Speedworks. Thank you so much for taking the time to interview, and I hope I can see you here soon.
See you in the next race in Nashville.
All right, I will be here with Amand Lal in a second. So, Amand Lal, P2, how does that feel after that strategy race you got into?
Yeah, that was a pretty good result, to be honest. Especially with that last safety car really helped me to get P2. Otherwise, I think I would have only managed P3. But yeah, it was quite tough before that as well, just surviving through the race with so many yellows. But yeah, happy with P2.
Yeah, all those yellows certainly affected, but you were able to play the strategy game. Unfortunately, it didn't seem like enough, but that last restart looked like a a fun 3 laps for you, trying to dice your way up to the front.
Yeah, that was quite intense. I was saying to the team as well, those last 3 laps were more intense for me than the rest of the race put together. So
Anyone you want to thank for this result or anything like that? I mean, tough break for the rest of your team guys, though.
yeah, it was a bit unfortunate to see the other 3 not finish the race, but I want to thank the team anyway for sticking around for the rest of the race and just spotting and helping with strategy as well. So that was quite helpful.
Well, that's great to hear for you. Lot less of a shorter interview from you, but what could you? Amadlaw finished P2. No, just you're with Jesper now, Lucas.
Yep. All right. So, and here we have our 3rd place finisher, Jesper Orman. Congratulations so much on this podium position for Rogue Racing. Talk us through how you did it.
Yeah, thanks. It was a long day. I got caught up. Guy on the outside, I gave him plenty of space. He didn't realize it. So from then on, I had wheel damage. I figured I lost maybe 3 or 4 tenths per lap or something. I couldn't keep up with the leaders. And then a bunch of cautions. And then there was like a caution with like 100 laps to go. And for some reason, some inexplicable reason, no one of the leaders did it. They stayed out. Committed to another yellow, which was very confusing to me. So from then on, we had that long green running, and I was running P2 behind the Russian guy. And I basically knew that he was going to get penalized after the race, so I knew I had to race 1. I just did not need that last caution, obviously, but yeah, that's how it goes when those. I mean, the guy pits, he gets damage, and he pits, and he's like a couple laps down, rejoins the track, and immediately spins out. So completely changed the whole dynamic of the race and everything. And then, well, I would have won if I had been more. If that would have happened 1 lap later, I would have won because I couldn't keep up with the pace of the front runners. I got passed there on the last lap because we were supposed to go. It was supposed to be 2 laps of green after the yellow, but the caution was shortened to 3 laps, and so I couldn't defend from. I think it was Aman. So congrats to Aman. I mean, yeah, he got lucky, but a win is a win.
All right. And do you have any sponsors or people you want to shout out or thank before we send you off?
I mean, my teammates, they I was complaining through most of the race, and they were like, "Hey, man, you're still in it," and well, they were right. So it's just unfortunate with the stuff going on around with other drivers, but that's how it goes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with us. And that was Jesper Orman, the 2-car for Rogue Racing.
Thanks.
Now I'm going to be speaking with mid-league owner himself, Julian Altena. Well, Julian, I assume you're here to rant about netcode.
Oh, hi. I heard I was planning to be interviewed during the race, but I was spotting for my teammate. But yeah, no, netcode is unbelievable. I mean, you pay 150 euros minimum to keep the servers running for a full year, and you get wiped out by a full car's worth of netcode. It's just ridiculous. Like many other games can do it, Project Cars, Automobilista, all those games, and Sims can do it, and iRacing can't. It's ridiculous. But I suppose this actually violates the broadcasting policy because we can't talk bad about iRacing. So I apologize to Nolan for getting his channel banned, but it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking like a good race prior to that. You were in the run for the hunt. I mean, 2 DNFs in a row. That sucks for our newly minted GIC champion.
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's completely iRacing's fault. Everybody knew going into this, and as they do for every race, that netcode is a factor. So they tried to drive accordingly to the best of their ability, whilst, of course, still trying to race close enough that you can actually make the move complete, which is a fine line to walk on for those who are maybe new to racing. It's not as simple as just leaving more space, because the shorter distance can be faster, and if you run a longer line, you can actually lose momentum and cause issues the other way. So yeah, it's just completely down to iRacing, unfortunately. But the race until then was quite good. I was actually able to catch and pass and even sit behind Kostek quite easily. There's many ifs and buts, but honestly, I really feel like I could have and should have won the race. But of course, we didn't, because things happened, and we just have to move on from here. I know I'm capable of winning races here in this series. It's been a long way where the series has run, and sometimes it's been more difficult than others to make those wins happen. But I've shown last season I can win races by beating one of the better drivers in the community. So. That's keeping my chin up, because I know I'm capable, and just have to, first of all, execute, and also get lucky enough with iRacing that it doesn't, mess you up. Is a nice way of putting it. So it's gonna take a lot, but I'm capable, so I can sleep easy.
Yep. Yeah, well, that sucks. Anyways, hope we see you have better luck next time at Nashville.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks a lot, guys, for everything. I'm sure it wasn't an easy race to call, so I'm going to have a hard time probably watching it back with all the yellows. But everybody drove a pretty good race. Like, despite the netcode, the racing was hard but good. Barring maybe one or two incidents and some jump starts here and there, which will be reviewed by the producer and Chief Steward Howie Burrows. So looking forward to reading that report. It's going to be interesting. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And congrats as well to everybody on the podium, officially and unofficially, and especially my teammate Aman. He did a great job. So thanks, guys.
No, you're welcome. Hope to see you in 2 weeks' time at Nashville under better circumstances.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this live stream. Once again, this was the New Hampshire 225 presented by Lovert Incorporated. It was an absolute roller coaster of a race, with so many different strategies, so many different racers in contention to win it. But it has unfortunately come to an end, and this is where I send you all off. So thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. But this will be the end, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks for, I can't quite remember the race, but we'll see you in 2 weeks.
It's just the Nashville,
yes, just said it, Nashville, yes. See you in 2 weeks from Nashville.
Anyways, see you next time. Green Flag TV. Same place, same time, 2 weeks from now. But there's also more IndyCar action tomorrow of the Classic IndyCar Series. Nolan Ripple will be covering that.